the VSN Arcade Podcast.
Did I ever tell you what the definition of insanity is?
Minion! You're under fire with your face!
Not the smartest way to greet the heavily armed group that just kicked in your door.
Head to virtualsportsnetwork.com and sign up for the forums today.
Everybody, welcome to another brand spanking new edition of the VSN Arcade Radio Podcast, number 87, sponsored by virtualsportsnetwork.com. Go ahead and sign up for the forums today. We are here today to talk about video games, video game news, video game releases, general opinions about video games, and anything in between. So without further ado, if you're familiar with us, then you know the next two people I'm going to bring up here that are co-hosting this podcast with me here tonight. Starting with Mr. Producer Man himself, one and only Mr. Swarley. How are you?
You know, I'm doing pretty well.
Good to hear, good to hear. How about you, Mr. Bomber, second man in the room tonight?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Ready to rock and roll. Glad the weekend's here.
Me too, me too. I know a lot of people are looking forward to what we're going to talk about today. We have a jam-packed agenda so far. We're going to start, once again, with the one and the only gaming. What have you been playing recently? And we're going to add a little tweak to it today. We're going to talk about recent gaming pickups. So we don't have to exactly say, well, I played this game, but if you bought this game, go ahead and bring it up. So I'm going to talk with you first, Bomber. What have you been playing recently, and have you picked up any new games recently as well?
I have been playing Grand Theft Auto 5, and we've been streaming it, and we've been having an absolute blast going through GTA Online, man. It is, right now, my major addiction. It's fun. It's fun. We've been hitting that up on Twitch. Been doing some fun races with a lot of people. So a lot of Grand Theft Auto 5. I've been playing NBA 2K14 and working on the My Team mode, where you you get the pack of cards, and your team. It's just kind of like Ultimate Team on Madden. But, you know, you get your pack of cards, you make your team off of that, and go through tournaments and user versus user games online. It's fun. It's a fun mode. Trying to build up a great team in NBA 2K14. I've been playing a little bit of. I played a little Final Fantasy V on Vita, just because it was on Vita, so I thought I would give it a whirl. And I've been playing some DCUO, Dizzle with you, man. Been having a lot of fun with that on the PS4.
Yeah, it's definitely been a blast. I really want to get back into it. I just don't know when the next time we play. But the next time it will be coming up. I hope it'll be, soon. Have you picked up anything recently as far as purchases, though?
No, haven't bought anything recently. Been holding off because I know March is going to be a busy month of buying games. Mm-hmm. So I know Tuesday will be the South Park RPG, Stick of Truth. I'm real excited about that. So this week, though, laid low, stuck with the games I had. I've got a lot of them that I am enjoying. I think this weekend, like I said, I've got those games I've been playing. And this weekend, Elder Scrolls Online beta is open again, so I'll be working a little bit of that in. So right now, I'm pretty good on games. So I'm waiting until Tuesday.
Cool. Nothing wrong with saving a little bit of money, as long as you have something to play. Swirly, same question for you. What have you been playing recently, and have you had any recent gaming pickups?
Well, as you and our listeners know from the last episode, I was going through a little bit of a gaming funk where I wasn't really playing.
It was the worst,
anything.
man. I felt terrible for you.
I know. Yeah. I hate it when that happens.
We have people that are no longer with us on this podcast that are totally bitching about that. You know who you are.
And on when did I start the game? I think it was Monday. I ran into a local game store that sells, games from just about every generation. And I was just looking at random games, and I happened to come across Deadfall Adventures. It was a game that released last November, and it's kind of an Indiana Jones clone. But it reviewed really bad, so I kind of just forgot about it. And I had completely forgotten about it, and all of a sudden it's just sitting right there on the shelf for $10, and I was like, yeah, what the hell, I'll try it. So I picked that up, played it, beat it in 2.5 days, and I'm currently playing through Thief right now on the PS4, and this afternoon I finally played through the Left Behind DLC for The Last of Us.
Nice.
And pickups-wise, it's actually been a fun week and a half or so. A buddy of mine was going to give away his 360, so I was like, hey, you know what? I'll give you $50 for it. Because I sold mine back in the fall when I could get quite a bit of money for it. So I knew it paid off. So I picked that up for $50. Got a few 360 games. I picked up, like I said, Deadfall Adventures. I picked up the Orange Box. And then yesterday I ordered The Sims 3. I don't know why I ordered that. It was just some weird thing over the past few days. I really wanted to play that game. So I picked it up. And
The
then
Sims 3?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You didn't think they'd get it for the PC?
I don't even know if my PC can run it.
Okay. Well, yeah, it does make sense if you get the console version.
And then I picked up the Prince of Persia HD Trilogy, because with these new consoles from the fall, I've kind of had to pack away my older consoles for a while until I figure out how I'm going to organize them. And I picked up the Prince of Persia, The Forgotten Sands. So now I've got all 5 Prince of Persia games to go through.
Nice. And this is including the 2008 edition that had Nolan North as the protagonist as well?
Yeah, I even have the reboot.
You got your hands full of sand, literally.
I'm excited.
Cool. I don't know. If I could say anything as far as what I've been playing recently, I had mentioned on the forums at virtualsportsnetwork.com, more specifically the arcade forums, I just recently beat Olmec for the first time on Spelunky. I have played through that game, specifically the amount of times it's been counting how many times I've died. It was 504 times until I finally beat the first boss of that game.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can imagine, this is like a weekly thing. And like you can count my daily challenge totals as well. Usually don't do too well. But yeah, it's been months going into that game, trying to play like at least once every morning before I go to work, trying to do daily challenges, trying to at least see if I can get to the temple. And then one day I finally am just messing around, not really paying attention. I make it to Olmec, and then I have enough bombs to blow a hole all the way to the bottom of the level, which is just like a huge lava pit. And Olmec falls all the way to the bottom. I climb all the way back up, loop whatever's on the top of the stage with ropes, and then just exit the level, and I'm done. So, 504 tries. 504th try, I beat Olmec. So I'm very happy about that.
Congrats.
Thank you. What else have I been playing recently? Like Mr. Whitmer said, we played a little bit of DCUO, which is pretty cool. Trying to get Swarley in on that. I don't know if you really dig superhero type games, though. Would you be willing to play with us on PlayStation 4, Swarley?
You know, I love superheroes, but now that you mention it, I can't. Outside of Batman, I don't know if I've really enjoyed many superhero games. I did download it, though, in case one of these days I do join you.
Yeah, I'm really liking it.
Yeah, and like you can model your character after Batman. Like they have people just running around in like Batman suits with screen. I think 2 or 3 people are like, "I'm Batgirl," or "I'm Batman's cousin, Bat Dude."
I'm Batman cousin.
There you go. Running around, so where to be? Do stuff like that. Anyways,
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Exactly. What else am I playing? I know I played with He Who Should Not Be Named and Padman on Payday 2. So that was pretty cool. We're trying to get everybody to play Payday 2 with us since it's free on PlayStation Network or PS Plus or whatever. So if everybody would download that freaking game and then download the patch immediately afterwards, it's bigger than the game itself, everybody would be able to play with us. But for now, I played with them and He Who Should Not Be Named's Cousin Monto. Shout out to Cousin Monto. And we had a good time. And it plays like Left 4 Dead, but you play as criminals versus cops. Always fun. I beat Call of Duty Ghosts story mode, finally. I think it was about half a week ago.
Ew.
My excuse is that I bought the game because my buddy really likes Call of Duty. I don't like Call of Duty, but it's got that Aliens Horde mode, so I need to have one game I can play with him exclusively, and this is it. What else? Play some more Skyrim. That was okay. I'm doing a lot of side quests. I made it back to Dawnstar in the game, and apparently the Jarl only wants me to kill giants at this time, which is really lame. And every time I try to kill them, I can't. So literally 15 to 20 panel guards all try to kill me all at once. So that's alright. And I'm trying to get back into Borderlands 2, with or without you, Mr. Whitmer. I don't know how you feel about that.
I like that game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. The problem is, I think I've overplayed it now.
Think you won't play that on any system?
Well, I think I've played it on every system as many times as I need to, with new games out that I need to play more.
So you're officially retiring Borderlands 2 from your gaming?
I'm not retiring, but as of right now, I am, just because I've got so much other stuff that I would rather play.
Okay. So if I told you I was playing True Ball Hunter mode, you wouldn't be interested?
I don't know what that means. That's even how long it's been.
It's like beat the game and then beat it again, pretty much.
Oh, that's awesome. I enjoy that mode. It's a lot more fun, a lot more tricky.
Exactly. So I'm trying to get that going, but I don't know. I don't have anybody else to play with except for Spider Chomp, and I don't want to play with him because he likes to tickle fight. I'm not into that. So
oh my,
oh my.
One of the greatest Twitch nights of my life.
Exactly. We even have it on record too. What else? Did I pick up anything recently? I don't think I've really picked up any. No. I picked up Strider. That's technically a digital game, but I still paid $15 for it. I've been having fun with that. So I guess if you want to count that as my pickup of the week, there you go.
Nice. Can I give you the other thing I've been enjoying in my life right now?
What have you been enjoying in your life so far?
It's not a game. I watched and got caught up all the way on True Detective. You need to watch that show. It's an HBO show. It is fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. It consumed my entire last 2 days, and I'd recommend it to anyone, especially you two, because I think you both would dig it.
I will wait until it's all finished for the season.
Okay.
Actually, I'm kind of waiting to catch up on some stuff after some of the shows that I'm watching are finished up for the season.
The only real show that I've been keeping up with since I've officially stopped watching most cable shows nowadays is Walking Dead. And I can easily follow that because it's on every Sunday. As far as True Detective, I do want to watch it. I've been hearing good things. I need to catch up on Game of Thrones. I have seasons 1 through 3. I need to catch up on a DVD.
Oh yeah, I'm way behind on that.
Yeah. I need to fulfill the seasons of Breaking Bad. I only really watched a couple episodes here and there. Some were repeats in the last season, and that was it. So I want to, watch all those episodes. Other than that, is True Detective only on HBO Go, or can you watch it on Netflix?
It is only on. It's only going to be 8 episode miniseries. So right now it's only on HBO because it's live right now.
Okay.
It's awesome though, man. Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson are unbelievable in it.
Oh, Woody Harrelson, I love that guy.
He's great. He is so good in it, and McConaughey's unbelievable. I've never really been a big Matthew McConaughey fan, but he is so freaking good in this show.
Yeah.
I'll definitely have to watch it.
Yeah. I thought McConaughey was pretty good in We Are Marshall. That was the last real serious movie I saw him in. And then I've heard good things about Killer Joe and Mud, and then the most recent one was Dallas Buyers Club.
And he was in Wolf of Wall Street for 10 minutes.
Yeah. So I hear all these good things. McConaughey was in it. It's he's the new guy that if he shows up in your movie, it's good things. Yeah. It's not just it's fucking McConaughey from Dazed and Confused. So, I don't know. I'll check it out. Okay, what's the next thing on the agenda here? Swarley, you had mentioned off broadcast that you had recently played The Last of Us is with an apostrophe no S at the end. DLC, Left Behind.
Yes.
What can you tell us about that?
You know, I pre-ordered it, downloaded it on day one, ended up not getting to it because I wanted to test out the Titanfall beta that weekend. You know, I was a little skeptical when I heard how much, or how little, I guess, time you get in the DLC. People were saying 2 to 3 hours. But I fired it up today, actually, and it was 3 hours. But it was awesome. I mean, Naughty Dog delivered another amazing and powerful story. I don't know. I don't know how much I want to talk about what happens in the game. It's kind of a dual story. There's 2 different timelines. The one that you see all over advertisements with the new character, that's a prequel to the main game. But then there's also a part in the game. Okay, I'm sure by now. Oh, crap, Jay hasn't even beaten The Last of Us.
Okay, well, neither have I. I can officially tell you from other things that I've heard so far, as far as like I think Giant Bomb went over it. Like you're saying, there are flashback moments in the game, and then there are also flash forward parts to. I think it covers a certain section in the main story on the main game itself.
Yeah, I'll say
Joel gets impaled, and then you set off as Ellie to go and find supplies to fix it.
Yeah,
fix whatever's wrong with him. And in the middle of that, you end up going through a mall section. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, and then when you play through the main game, it's a pretty intense moment that you go through, and you're a nervous wreck because you don't know what's going to happen to Joel, and Ellie's just kind of freaking out, and it's pretty intense. But it shows in the DLC. It shows Ellie going through this place trying to find supplies to help Joel, who's unconscious. She's trying to get supplies to help him heal up, and she goes through, zombies, whatever you want to call them in this game, because they don't really have an overall name.
Well, there's clickers, and there's the boomers, and then there's the screaming ones that are like first stage of the contagion, I believe.
Well, yeah, but we don't get a all-encompassing name.
Yeah.
But the first one you come across is a clicker, and I will say, even this long after the main game, hearing the noise of a clicker is still absolutely terrifying. Those fucking things. But yeah, you're going through, you have to come across all those zombies. You come across people that are hunting for you. And then when you're in the prequel part of the story, you find out Ellie's had this friend. She kind of up and ditched her a few months back, and now she comes back to kind of reconcile with Ellie. They go on a little adventure across town to the mall, trying to get some little, taste of normal life. They go through a bunch of different things. They try to work it out. Then they get in another fight. They work it out again. And it leads up to the end, which it ends up being a pretty powerful moment. And it was even though it was fairly short, for $15, it was one of the better DLCs I've ever played. It was amazing.
Okay. So to put it 2 and 2 together, slightly spoilery, going back to what you were originally saying, you got 2 separate mall sections. You got the flashback and you got the flash forward. And the flash forward go into that mall trying to find supplies for Joel to heal him up while also avoiding clickers and hunters and things like that. I would have to assume that since Ellie's friend is not a part of the main game, something bad happens to that friend that causes her to freak out when Joel gets hurt, to the point where I guess some really bad post-traumatic stress disorder thing clicks in her head, and she's thinking, okay, well, this thing happened to my friend, I'm assuming, and I don't want this to happen to Joel, so now I need to go and find supplies for him to make sure he doesn't fall under the same fate. Am I correct in this assumption?
Yes and no. There's parts of that I would say yes to, but there's parts that I would also say no to. It's more showing the evolution of Ellie as a character and going from that first instance to now she's kind of in a similar instance with Joel, and you get to see how differently she handles things and how more grown up of a person she is closer to the end of the main story. So, I mean, it does a great job of showing how Ellie has grown up throughout the game.
Now, Bomber, you've played The Last of Us, at least part of it before, right?
No, I haven't played any of it yet.
Oh my god.
Have you, stories that we have told. What do you think of The Last of Us as a whole?
I think it sounds awesome. I will play it at some point. I just haven't had the urge yet to play it, and I know I will have it, so I figure why force it when I know at some point I'm going to be like, I really want to play Last of Us now, and at that moment, really capitalize on it.
Fucking masterpiece.
Yeah, I can't wait. It'll be good.
Okay. And to further steer this conversation a little bit more, how do you feel about a DLC like this diving into a personality of a secondary character and showing some real character growth? Do you think it's a good thing when it comes to games like this, or you think you'd rather have some extra levels, maybe some extra skins or something like that?
No, I would want it this way. That's more fun. I'm very story driven in my games. So that to me sounds fantastic. And I have heard nothing bad about the DLC, nothing. Normally you hear something that people don't like. This one has been pretty unanimous that it's awesome.
Yeah, you see a game, literally a game like Gears of War Judgment, to where it should have been treated as extra DLC or something. To where you get more of the game, but even with flashbacks and stuff, it still feels like just tacked on stuff. This DLC, like you're saying before, and the way that I hear it through Swarley, it's not a bad thing. And I think Naughty Dog had mentioned that this is the first and last single-player DLC that they're making for the game. And to make it this good lets us know that even with the small little chunk extra of the story, that they are more willing to put together a good product for you to play.
It really makes me want some Uncharted single-player DLC.
It makes me, after seeing The Last of Us, it makes me want them to. And Uncharted is not a bad IP. I would rather them work on something else new.
You shut your horse mouth. We need one more Uncharted.
Even if it was them, if Uncharted was put together by a separate team, maybe they would be advised from certain folks from Naughty Dog.
No,
in case they need help
refuse.
doing it.
I refuse.
But Naughty Dog would do a different IP. You wouldn't be cool with that at all?
I refuse. See, the reason why I'm okay with it is because Naughty Dog now has the two teams. So, I mean, they can do Uncharted 4, and now that the other team is wrapped up on The Last of Us, they can go into either their next Last of Us game or their new IP that's what they've been saying. But yeah, that's why I'm okay with it. But after Uncharted 3, I kind of feel like we need just one more Uncharted to wrap it up.
I personally would rather have them put the full force of all their team on one game, because when they did that, they made The Last of Us.
No, The Last of Us was half the team.
It was half the team?
Yeah, I think even Uncharted 2 is just half of them. Because one did Uncharted 2, one did Uncharted 3, and then the Uncharted 2 team did The Last of Us.
Okay. Well, I want a Voltron type thing then where everybody works on one game. That's what I want. So, anyways, that's me. Let's move along, though. Thief recently came out. Either you can call it a prequel, you can call it a sequel, you can call it a reboot, a reimagining of the Thief series. It's dropped, and there hasn't been a hell of a lot of good things to say about it as far as reviews are concerned. But we know that Swarley has personally streamed this through his Twitch page and has some good, maybe not so good opinions about the game so far. So I'm going to let you take it away and let our listeners know exactly how you feel about this game.
Which, real quickly, before Swarley dives in what he thought of it, I was real excited about this game on the previews because it just made me think it was going to be like the Skyrim Thieves Guild. That's all I could think of whenever I heard of Thief. I was like, oh, this will be like Oblivion or Skyrim's Thieves Guild for some of the greatest storylines in those Elder Scrolls games.
Yeah,
then it was let down.
Yeah, I haven't touched the game once, and I really feel bad that this game's getting shit on. And rather it's because it's not the original Thief, and because of that old heads that remember the original older games will never accept this new game, and then having their opinions poison other people's opinions that may or may not touch these games, because it's the only opinions that you can gather from these Thief games, from other people who've played it previously. I don't remember. There's no new opinions about this stuff. All you hear about is this game is not the original Thief. It's never going to be the original Thief, so you shouldn't like it. And since it's allegedly a newer IP, you would think that it would be good, but because these bad opinions have been poisoning other people's opinions, you don't really hear any good things, other than the stuff that we may or may not hear from Swarley. Like, I've heard good things from you saying stuff, particularly to me, through VSN on the boards. Like, all the good stuff that I heard about this, but it hasn't been like all sunshine and rainbows. So, I don't know. Swarley, you would be able to further explain this better than I could.
You know, I've kind of been to both ends of the spectrum during my play so far. The first night that I fired this up, it started out pretty interesting. The art style definitely reminds me of a Bethesda game. I mean, it just straight up looks like one of their games. But you know, started off stealing stuff, running around with this Aaron character, learning how to do stuff, which was fun. And then once I got past the prequel, you know, I started making my way around the city, and I go through this jewelry shop, and that's when the first night kind of soured on me, because once I broke into the jewelry shop, I got stuck fighting a guy, and you know, sometimes it'd just be me and him. Sometimes this other guy would wake up and come fight too, which when there was two guys against me, there was no hope. But I'm not sure if it's intended to be this way or what, but your guy really can't handle hand-to-hand combat very well. I mean, I've had boss fights that were easier than just taking on this one little guard. Of course, it could have just been, you know, I'm not sure if it was also me. I should have been looking for another way to go about it. But I spent a lot of time just trying to, you know, use the dodge mechanic that they kept telling me to use, and then trying to take down the guy straight up. Did that for, I don't know, a good 20 minutes at least. With, I don't know, I failed over and over, and it was really frustrating. But you know, once I was like, you know, I'll try a new tactic here. I ran away, got up into the rafters where he couldn't see me, and then I took him down, no problem. So, you know, it could have been me. I don't know. I mean, it was really frustrating. It kind of soured my night with the game. But then I popped it in again last night. And the first mission that I did then, you know, it was all right. I had to go... what was it that I stole the first mission? It was a ring off a dead guy, which was pretty interesting. Went into a mortuary, and you know, this game throws out a lot of crude jokes, and I was there were 3 guys doing some embalming on some dead guys, and they were looking for some rings on the dead people because they steal whatever's on the dead guys. And this one guy's like, "Did you see any cock rings?"
No.
And the other guy's like, "The hell's a cock ring?" And the dude's like, "It's a ring for your gentleman's finger."
Oh,
It cracked my shit up. I was not expecting anything like that. But then the next mission.
Wait, hang on.
Yes.
Did they find one?
No.
Oh, dang it.
you sound disappointed.
But the next mission is the one it's really started to sway my opinion back towards the favorable side for this game. You are tasked with finding a book that is really rare. In fact, the guy that you're working for or doing this mission for thinks it might be the only one in existence, and it's at the brothel that's in town. And you make your way to this place. It's a pretty open layout, so you can explore this place any way you want. You can take multiple routes throughout the building, and then there's a lot of stuff to steal in there, and there's some real cool ways to hide. There's guards all over the place, so you always have to be watching all around. But you finally get to this area, and you find a secret passageway, and you go down underneath the brothel. You have to find these symbols on the wall that help you align a key to get into another secret area. It's puzzle after puzzle, and then you've got all this cool stuff like there's hidden doors, like with bookcases. You pull out a book and there's a hidden door. And it's just puzzle after puzzle after all this kind of cool stuff. And it was, I really loved it. It was like almost a 2-hour mission. And, after being underwhelmed for the first couple hours, that mission it's really swayed me back towards the positive side for this game. And I'm excited to see where it goes from there.
Okay. So anything that's basically non-combat related, 6 out is good stuff for you, but as soon as you fight or attempt to fight anybody one-on-one, whether it's by accident or not, it basically sours the experience?
If you run away real quick, it ends up not being too bad. But if you're just going to sit there and try to fight a guy straight up, you aren't going to have a good time.
Now, everything else as far as the sneaking aspects, the finding the hidden secrets, like the brothel level, the cock ring level, things like that, little bits and pieces that you find out of the way, really sounds to me like they flavor the game to the point where you can do the main story missions, but all the hidden stuff is really what you want to look for.
I'm finding, when I was in the secret passageway for the brothel, I was looking. There's extra treasures that you didn't have to do. And there's all sorts of extra side stuff during a main mission that you just didn't have to do, but ended up being really fun.
Now, does that add to the replayability, or once you get past certain levels, you can't go back?
They actually, once you finish a mission, they actually give you they'll list the stats for your mission, how well you did. And they give you the option right there to replay the mission.
Okay. So, if you're 5 missions ahead, you can go back 5 missions and do them over again?
Yes.
Awesome. That's very cool.
I also will say I haven't played the 3 other games. I do own the 3rd game for the original Xbox, but I haven't played it. So, I was coming into this series with a completely blank slate.
Well, it does sound, other than the combat sections, it does definitely sound like if you're looking for a stealth, action-y type game, kind of like a Dishonored, but without the whole, if you manage to get caught, you'll be able to fight them off aspect. If you're looking for a stealth action-y type of game, this might be something that you're looking for, especially if you're game starved for stuff like PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Like the funny thing is, to get a little bit further off track, I haven't really heard any good or bad news as far as the PlayStation 3 or the 360 version of the game, other than there's no real graphical difference between next-gen and current-gen game.
Yeah, I mean, this you could tell right away that this game was developed for last generation. And these are just, kind of ported over. I mean, it doesn't. There you get a couple frame drops during cutscenes, but it's not too bad.
Which is not to say that it's a good or a bad thing, because I mean, going back from our last podcast where I was really adamant about, I don't care about how, other than frame rate, I don't really care how good the game looks as long as it plays well. I was fully expecting this game, especially with the advertisements for it beforehand, I was fully expecting this to be just a next-gen game, and to hear that it still plays good, but it's not up to the standard that we're kind of used to now with the newer games out these days. It's not quite up to the standard that these other games are holding right now. It's not brand new, even though it is a brand new game.
I mean, I will also say that the art style, the kind of dark and, color washed, that art style doesn't really do any favors for, graphical prettiness. So.
Are you still on the fence or still not looking forward to picking up this game, Bomber?
I won't get it. It will be one that I miss altogether. Once again, we're in a time right now with March coming up and good games. If it's not a great game, I really don't understand why I should even buy it. Right? I mean, the March is huge for video games. March has tons of stuff. So, I don't know, $60 for a game that I may not even like and may not even play, judging by everything I hear. And Swarley may really like it, but I feel like I hear a lot of tones of trying to make himself like it. And I don't want to try to have to make myself like a game. I know I'm going to like Stick of Truth. I know I'm going to dig Titanfall on PC. I know coming out later in the month, I'll dig Infamous. I don't need to try to work through a game, especially when I still have good ones that I'm really enjoying right now. It's a good backlog time for me.
Yeah. I'd say closing statement. I really hope that Swarley will be able to make it to the end of the game and still enjoy his process as he streams, so other people can watch him and enjoy the game as well. And he won't come across other parts in the game that may sour the game some more for him. Because, like Bomber was saying before, that's a $60 game, and it's trying to hold up to a lot of promise from the previous series of this game, and it's may or may not be able to. So, who knows? Maybe it'll be great.
Is there a game that you would look forward to more coming out in March that you would rather play and that you could tide yourself over with some of your backlog?
My issue when it comes to gaming now isn't so much going out and purchasing physical discs as it is purchasing digital media.
Yeah, you won't even purchase digital GTA 5, so...
Well, I'm somewhat of a cheap ass when it comes to games. So when I saw that Strider was $15, I figured, even if Strider was...
Great purchase.
Damn good purchase. Even if Strider was okay, still it was just $15. It wasn't going to kill my wallet. But to get all that and more in a $15 game, it being a great game, a great action Metroidvania with Strider paint on the front of it, it's a damn good game. I was pleasantly surprised. I don't know about South Park's Stick of Truth other than knowing that I like South Park the series. That doesn't mean the game's going to be stupidly awesome or stupidly bad, depending on your opinion of it.
And here's the deal. That game is going to be stupidly funny, regardless.
It could be the funniest episode of South Park not put on television. That doesn't mean that it's going to be a good game. It just means it's going to have good writing.
The reason that I'm excited is because it's Obsidian.
Obsidian put out Alpha Protocol, and that was
awesome. it was very unpolished, but it was so awesome.
Here's the deal. Here's my plan, by the way, for you. Because I am getting excited for this game. And it's been a while since I've watched a lot of South Park. So I fully plan on Sunday, Monday being days where I go through and watch an old season or two of South Park. And then Tuesday I'll be jumping on and streaming at night my reactions to playing that game. Unfortunately, I won't have all of Tuesday to just sit down and play it, but Tuesday night I'm going to be Tuesday night, Wednesday night devouring that game.
So you would say that your stream that Tuesday evening would be your
Tuesday night, Wednesday night will be my stream of the South Park game, and Sunday and Monday will be my days of streaming South Park. So I will be streaming it to watch, and then I'll be streaming the actual game. I'm excited for it. It'll be fun to have a new game that's a little quirky and something different than what I've been playing.
I mean, we might as well move ahead while we're talking about South Park, especially with the previews that are out right now. I think there's a trailer out right now that shows a lot of game footage, and it seems like it's a lot of time-based RPG action elements to where instead of you doing a move and then the enemies do a move, it's you do a move and then within a certain time frame you get to do a move again, and it's always running on a clock. Other than that, it really feels like, obviously with the visuals, it has that whole aesthetic of they're really trying to go with the whole Game of Thrones idea of they have rival clans and stuff within the South Park kids like they usually do whenever they pretend to fight in like warrior settings. They're bringing that back, basically. Like they had this stuff for when they were doing the whole Black Friday episode. All the kids basically have that aesthetic throughout the game. And then you're going in, from what I've seen in the preview, you play as the new kid in South Park. And what's really funny is that I've heard from people who have actually had their hands on gold copies of the game, they mapped out the town of South Park itself. So you know exactly where Cartman's house is in comparison to Kyle's house.
Yeah, first time they've had to map out South Park.
Yeah, that's very cool. That is very awesome. Especially if like you're a huge fan of South Park, now you finally get the map of the town. It's up there like if, let's say you had a copy of Simpsons Hit and Run. I think that was like the first official 3D mapped world of Springfield in a video game. So to have something like South Park in a video game mapped out, that's very cool. And to be able to pretty much play yourself as a character in South Park and running around in the game is even better. So that's cool to me as an idea. I don't know how well that's going to run once I have the game in my hands, if I'm going to do that. And I'm really hoping that later on down the road, if I don't pick it up this upcoming Tuesday, or if I watch your stream, that it looks good enough for me to pick up and play. And then when I play it, it will still be playing potentially well. Because there's no next gen for this. This is strictly PlayStation 3, Xbox 360. I think there's a PC version coming out soon.
I know. I've got to figure out if I want to go PS3 or PC when I get it. That is my dilemma right now.
Other than having to absolutely quote unquote play it right now, I would want to pick it up on PC because that would have to be the best version of the game. Unless it's just a straight port from the console. We don't even know that yet. So, Swarley, how do you feel about South Park Stick of Truth?
You know, I've mentioned this on the forums, virtualsportsnetwork.com/forums. Sign up for the forums today. That I don't really care about South Park the show. I mean, I've watched an episode here and there over its long run, but it's not something that, you know, I watch on a regular basis at all. But, you know, after watching the gameplay videos, I'm pretty damn excited for this game. I really enjoy Obsidian and what they do. And, you know, I'm really itching for an RPG. And, you know, I haven't had a lot of experience with turn-based stuff, except for Persona 4 Golden on my Vita. So, you know, I thought this would be a good chance to dive into another one. And I am eagerly anticipating Tuesday.
Cool. Yeah, the funny thing is, my uneasiness about this game is all I've been hearing is good things about the game. I haven't heard any negatives. And
that's a bummer, isn't it?
Well, I mean, the full game is out on YouTube right now.
Yeah, and you say it's a bomber, alliteration side,
with a lot of tongue in cheek.
Yeah, I say my uneasiness is because in previous games that I've seen that only have had good reviews, all the bad reviews that have been swept under the rug have been. You can compare it to the bad reviews being embargoed until the game comes out officially. I mean, you might see something from, let's say, not that Polygon's bad or anything, because they have a lot of good opinions and opinionated pieces on their site.
I hate Polygon.
A lot of times Polygon shits on a game for a good reason. But you'll never hear about it until the game comes out.
One of those good reasons would not be their Last of Us review.
They're entitled to their own opinions, good or bad, depending on your opinions or other people's opinions.
His opinion was wrong. You shut your mouth, Jay.
But I want to get a full spectrum of opinions on this game. Not just it's good because it's going to be a new South Park game. The South Park game for the N64 sucked, yet it sold millions of copies because it had the South Park name on it. Doesn't mean it was a good game. So I'm not saying that it's going to be the same thing that's going to happen with Stick of Truth, but that might be the case too. So I don't know. I'd have to play the game or see it played by one of you guys, because I trust your opinions more than I trust somebody on IGN or Polygon. So who knows? Looking forward to Tuesday, whether or not I have the game or not. Speaking of bad games, though, officially bad games that we all know are bad games, but we actually do enjoy. The next section here on the agenda is the topic of bad games that you enjoy. Offcast, Bomberhead said he had something special for us as far as the topic.
Don't talk it up like it's special.
No, it is special because it's you. You're the golden voice of VSN. You have something special when it comes to bad games that you enjoy. I want to hear your favorite bad game.
Okay.
What is it?
One of my favorite bad video games, because a lot of people, especially on the site, was Madden 08. Madden 08 was one of my absolute favorite video games ever. Vince Young on the cover. A lot of people hated that game. I probably played that game online. I know I had close to 1,000 ranked games online in that game.
What the
I played for 7 hours a night when that game came out and just play all night long. I absolutely adored it. And people ripped that game to shreds online. Just ripped it to shreds. Said it was the worst thing that's ever come out video game-wise. I thought it was so fun, and I would still play it today if the servers are up for it. If I could find my disc.
Now, is 08 the one that had the fight for the fumble, or was that a little later on?
I think that was the next year. 08, I believe, and I hope I'm getting it right. I believe 08 was the one that had the rings.
Rings.
Where you could create your ring. Maybe it was 07 now that I think about it.
Like Super Bowl rings?
Yeah, you could create like your Super Bowl ring, and I thought, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? This is the stupidest thing ever, but I love leveling up in that game to build a ring that would just be on my screen when I logged on. Do you remember that, Swarley?
No.
That kind of sounds familiar. Sort of. Like you would unlock certain things as you completed challenges. Yeah. It would add to your personal ring that you could show off to other people, I guess, online. Yeah.
And you could order it for like $1 billion. You could order your rings from some custom ring site. So stupid.
Did you order your ring?
No, heavens no. You had to be made of money to do that. And all I had was one game that year because I just played Madden 24/7. But it was like not a good game. It was quirky. It was one of the first Maddens that worked on next gen. And their server actually worked. It was so bad. I gotta remember if it was 07 or 08 now because now I'm questioning myself on what year had the rings. So I'm gonna look it up real quick. and find out, because it might have been 07 with Sean Alexander, the more I think about it.
07 had Sean Alexander, Vince was on 8, 6 was McNabb, 9 was... Who was on 9? Anybody remember?
Oh, Madden 09 would have been Brett Favre?
Was that the one with the alternative cover when he came back to play for the Jets?
Yeah, it was. I think it was Favre was 09.
Because the only way that I remember 8 distinctly was I won a wing eating contest during a Super Bowl party and got a free copy for Madden. Oh, man.
Oh, that's funny.
That's awesome.
And I won a technicality because while I pretty much stripped the chicken wings off the bones, everybody else was like leaving like half-eaten chicken wings. So I won basically by a technicality. Because they ate like through all their wings. I made like my way through half of them, but I had like the most chicken meat off. So I don't know. It's weird. But yeah. Swarley. Bad games that you enjoy. What do you got?
Well, you know, I don't want to put Alpha Protocol into this.
That's not a bad game.
Because, I mean, the game is so unpolished gameplay-wise and mechanically. But man, that story and character progression was just, it was awesome. So I can't really put that game in there myself. But I did play through a game this past week that was just so terrible. But for some reason I saw myself wanting more. And that was Deadfall Adventures on the Xbox 360. This game came out in November, and, you know, like I mentioned earlier in the cast, it's kind of your Indiana Jones clone. You are... fuck is the character's name? I can't remember his first name. I think it's James. James Quatermain. And you are there's this lady that you used to work with. She comes back to find you. You're supposed to help her find, you know, this ancient treasure that unlocks the keys to so and so powers, and you know the Nazis are looking for it. So you know we gotta find it before them, before they end the world. You know, your typical treasure hunting story. The only difference is that this was the story writing was 100 times worse than anything you could imagine. It was just really bad. The voice acting, I don't know if there's a word to describe how bad the voice acting was. It was so terrible. It was just, wow. It's really the only thing you can say to describe how bad it was. Especially when you got to you know, Germans who I'm pretty sure weren't really German, and they were just faking a German accent and were really bad at it. The graphics looked like something you would have seen, you know, 2008 and prior on that generation of consoles. The character motions were bad. You know, it was just straight up terrible. One thing that I did enjoy, which was kind of also bad at the same time, there were a lot of puzzles in the game. And you had your typical notebook, you like Uncharted or Indiana Jones, to where, you know, you had these tips and clues as to what you needed to look out for, what to do. Yet, when you got to one of these puzzles, about 80% of the time, these clues were completely useless, and you just had to figure it out on your own by trial and error. Which, as terrible as that ended up being, I actually kind of liked it, because you know you had to figure it out for yourself, so that was kind of fun. They also kind of had a different take on the you know, like collectibles and treasures throughout the game. That were optional. Instead of just walking over to a treasure and picking it up, these treasures are actually booby-trapped. Like, you could come across one... What?
This game is awful, isn't it?
It's pretty bad. But...
Just looked it up, and now I'm even more disappointed with you, Swarley.
but I mean, you might have one that's, You might trip over a wire that's connected to a grenade. You might have one to where there's sections of the floor that will fall out if you step on them. There's just a bunch of things like that. And that was actually really fun. You just, you're not looking for a treasure. Oh, there's one, I'll go pick it up. But you actually got to think about maneuvering around these booby traps, which was cool. Review scores were really bad, which is why I forgot about it. I was halfway looking forward to it in the fall, but I think Metacritic it's sitting at like a 5-something review score wise. Interestingly enough, though, the user score is somewhere in the 7s. So that was why I kind of picked it up. I was like, all right, I'll spend $10 on this. But I mean, it really is a terrible game. But it was a lot of fun. The whole treasure hunting theme is something that I've really enjoyed going back since I was a little kid, watching the Indiana Jones movies all the time. I've always made it known that the Uncharted series is probably my favorite series ever. So, I mean, it's something that I really like. So that might have had a little something to do with why I ended up liking it, but it's a pretty bad game.
Yeah, I recognize the Quartermain name from previous fiction.
Yeah, this guy is Alan Quartermain's either grandson or great-grandson.
Other than that, I mean, if you're good, it seems like if you're going to make a rip-off game, you need that one bit of credibility, and they always seem to use the Quartermain name. Yet nobody contemporary or of our generation, unless you're willfully looking for stuff based off of that character, you're not going to know who the fuck that character is.
Yeah.
It's going to be some other so-and-so's name that they just quote-unquote made up. Yeah, that sounds really bad. I wouldn't play that game.
But it was fun. And apparently this game's, like, fairly rare, too. I mean...
Like, you can get some good money ripping off somebody who wants a copy?
Like, I could probably get $50 on it on eBay, easily. Like, GameStop, like, on regular gaming sites, GameStop doesn't sell it. I mean, you go on eBay, there's, like, maybe 5 listings, and a couple of them are PC, and a couple of them are, like, Japanese imports. I mean, it's it's kind of funny how rare this game is.
I'm thinking it should be like the copies of E.T. that are buried out in the desert, and they should just stay buried.
I mean, this game's bad, but, with sadly how much I enjoyed it and how rare it is, it could be a nice little piece in my collection.
I think it's going to end up like a stack of baseball cards that slowly depreciate in value until they're worth nothing anymore.
Absolutely, and you should have sold when stock was high.
I don't want to sell it. I know I'll play through it again at some point.
You're willfully willing to live under that Indian burial ground curse in order to keep the game. Even though it's that bad.
I'm keeping it.
Ew. I feel bad. I really do.
I mean, the good thing was there's nothing broken about the game. I mean, there's nothing, you aren't going to get cheated by stupid AI that doesn't make any sense at all. You're not going to come across game-breaking bugs or anything like that. So that was a good thing. I will say that.
So it's thoroughly play tested, but it just
it's just bad.
Something was lost in translation along the way that made it a bad game, other than it being what it is. If I could add a piece to this discussion, it would have to be...
I'm not going to lie. I'm dying to hear yours, Dizzle, because I feel like yours is going to be absolutely horrid.
Oh, it's pretty bad. Okay. Well, I can give you one of two. Do you want to hear about Raw Danger, or do you want to hear about Rumble Roses?
I want to hear about the worst one. The absolute worst.
Okay. The absolute worst one would probably be Rumble Roses, only for the fact that I was naive enough not to think that a video game based completely off of slightly ripped off SmackDown engine from the PlayStation could possibly be good with anything where the roster is just all female roster. No offense to female wrestlers out there, but this is basically cheesecake wrestling. It's where it's not serious at all. Every character on the roster is based off of a sexual fetish, pretty much. You got nurses.
This sounds like a game you'd find in Med's house.
Yes!
It's essentially like a porn game almost, but nobody gets naked. And there's sexy nurses, there's sexy doctors, there's sexy ninjas, there's sexy judo fighters, there's sexy punk rock band singers, sexy pro wrestlers, sexy cowgirls, sexy S&M cosplay characters. I should have thought about it at the time, but I didn't think about it that much until I actually seen the character myself and thought to myself, it's a very good thing that this game is rated teen, because if it was rated M, it would be very bad. But yeah, you have all those characters, and everybody has alternative evil sorted costumes that make it even worse now that I think about it. There are mud wrestling matches. It's where every character is in a bikini or a one-piece costume, a swimsuit, and they're all fighting in a mud pit. And again, me being naive, I didn't think about it at the time. I was thinking it's a wrestling game with chicks. Okay. There's regular wrestling moves based on the SmackDown engine, and then there are humiliation moves where basically they're like submission moves, but you got to fill a meter, and then you basically, and this is going to sound really bad, not that it doesn't sound bad already, you put the other character in a compromising position to where if somebody was rolling a camera out in the middle of a dirty dungeon basement area somewhere, you think somebody was shooting a porno. And I own this game. I didn't think about it. I sold it. And then I looked back upon the subjects of this game. And again, this is a T for teen game. And I'm thinking to myself, why was this game allowed over here in the States? Because I can imagine a lot of teenagers were fapping to this thing.
Jay, I'm not sure what to say about this.
I don't know. Are you shocked and amazed, Bomber?
Yeah, I actually had to go and look it up. And it is... I'm not judging you, because you like your wrestling. This, to me, screamed JayDizzle. It just screamed JayDizzle to me. The second I saw it, I was like, of course you played this game. Of course you like this game. This is your personality. This is perfect to you.
It really screams you're a creepy bastard if you own this game.
Right, that's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean.
I take personal offense to that, but okay.
I just Googled Rumble Roses, went to images, and one of the first images I see is a spread eagle cross shot.
Here you go. It's one of the humiliation moves.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this was PS2?
Yep.
J.
Now, you can imagine that I was being silently judged at the local GameStop when I sold this game.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So, I own that game. I'm not proud of it. I enjoyed playing it at the time. I sold it because I needed the money, and I never rebought the game afterwards. Kind of glad I didn't.
I think you need to rebuy it just to have it.
No. I'm done collecting games. This is no longer a game that has to be in my collection. Just know I used to own it, and know that I was into some weird shit back in the day.
This is
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Jay.
I'll never be the president because I own Rumble Roses. It's incriminating. Yeah.
I just look at this game, and what comes to my mind is that moment in Grandma's Boy where he looks at the monkey and says, "Don't judge me, monkey."
Yeah, pretty much. So, there you go. I admit to enjoying Rumble Roses. There you go. Alright, now that sad bit of business is out of the way, and I really hope Swarley will edit that part out of the conversation.
Okay, can I ask another question?
Go ahead.
Was this a game you played with like your buddies, or did you play this game home alone?
Nobody knew I had this game.
Oh no! Now it's way creepy.
Yeah. Look, I'm agreeing with you. Back then, it didn't register in my tiny brain. Not knowing what I know now, as far as this game is basically not made for general consumption. And I can't excuse me owning this game and me playing this game and saying, you guys don't understand. No, I get it. It's a creeper game. It's not good. Probably should have never been made for selling. But I bought it. I played it, thinking it's chicks wrestling. And then I got some of the seedier parts of the game, and I kept going. And then I sold it. I didn't look online. I didn't look at fan fiction. I didn't look at art on DeviantArt or any other weirdo shit. I didn't make especially fan videos for this thing. Just, I own the game. I played it. I tried to unlock a lot of characters, I'll admit to that, because that's what happens when you're an addicted gamer. And, yeah. I got rid of it. So, it's a mark of shame I'm going to have to live with forever.
No, I can't explain to you how badly I want you to have this game still and stream it.
To play with other people online if I could?
I think I want this game to become a punishment for the people inside the podcast. We do like a gaming night, and the worst person ends up having to gets Rumble Roses shipped to them, and they have to stream it for a night, just so we know they have to play it for a 3-hour chunk.
Oh,
that's a pretty awesome idea.
That's bad. I would rather play Raw Danger again. Another excellent PlayStation 2 game where you could cross-dress as Santa Claus in high heels, or you could basically wear nothing but a Santa hat, mittens, and a smile in the middle of a freezing cold temperature blizzard/flood, and a rubber ducky water waiter thing, like the inner tubes of the rubber ducky in the front. You can wear one of those. And then you have to survive basic disaster that way. I would rather play that again, and that game's really bad. The controls are terrible. So, yeah, I don't want to talk about
you, Dizzle. I'm proud that you.
I know.
I'm proud you bit the bullet for all of us.
I am a very bad gamer. I don't know. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I don't enjoy this subject anymore, Swarley. Shame on you for putting this on the agenda. Go fuck yourself, seriously. Now that I just admitted this. Let's just move on to the news. Swarley, what's the first bit of news that we got to talk about here?
Well, it was announced that Twitch streaming is finally going to be available for Xbox. It's coming in March, and it's basically coinciding with the launch of Titanfall.
That's a great choice. Comes out Titanfall comes out the 12th, is that right? And streaming comes out the Monday before?
Yeah, I think the day it was for Twitch was, I think it was the 11th.
11th for both, you're right. 11th for both, I think.
So, I mean, this was something that they talked about back when they revealed the Xbox, and it was kind of depressing that it didn't come out at launch when Sony had the capability on theirs, and then what was it in like January? Twitch was saying it was still a few months away. At that point, it didn't really sound promising, and then kind of out of left field, it's announced that hey, it's coming next month. So that'll be nice to be able to finally stream my Xbox One.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I'm excited to see how the streaming quality is on Xbox One as compared to PS4.
I think I'm more interested in how this setup is.
What do you mean?
Like how you go about starting your stream, what kind of options you have, and all that.
I gotta imagine it might be slightly more improved over the PlayStation 4 experience, as far as like interface is concerned.
That's what I'm thinking, because they've had a few extra months to work on it, so.
Yeah, like I would really hope that the folks at Twitch were smart enough to buy more server farms for this, because when the PlayStation 4 came out and everybody started streaming, it completely thrashed their site. it waffle stomped Twitch for about a good week, and it's still doing that in certain cases. So to think that Xbox One is going to come and allow people to Twitch stream, and then have it coincide with Titanfall, which basically is going to be the system seller for Xbox One for a lot of people, that's basically going to break Twitch, in my opinion, where everybody is going to stream this one game.
Not me.
So, I'm not hoping that's going to happen. I think that's going to happen. I hope it doesn't happen. But who knows? This is going to be a big sign, because now that Microsoft is in the Twitch streaming game themselves, not having this whole, well, you don't have to stream on Twitch, you can use Ustream, but nobody uses Ustream type of ordeal. All they have is Twitch. And they're going to go at Twitch in their fullest to do this. So, who knows?
I'm excited to finally be able to stream some of my racing league.
Yeah, I definitely want to see Apex Racing and see you racing games. Yeah. I want to see you get, subscription status for that stuff and get people to pay to see you guys race. That'd be pretty cool.
We're a ways away from that.
Never know. Okay. All right. Next topic on the list. What do we got?
Sony Santa Monica, which, if our listeners don't know who that is, they are the dev who's most known for the God of War series, 1, 2, 3, Ascension. They did Ascension, right?
Basically, right. Let's see. Santa Monica did. I don't know if that was them specifically.
I don't know if they were the lead on Ascension or not, but we'll just say the God of War series. That's their baby. They were hit with layoffs this past week, and as a result of that, one of their new IPs is canceled. It was, it's been kind of rumored that they've got 2 projects going. I'm not sure if one of them is going to be God of War. I'm sure it is. And then they had a new IP going, and that is down the toilet. So that kind of sucks.
Yeah, ever since the whole Irrational Games thing happened, now I'm seeing more and more upfront of more and more people in the gaming industry are getting laid off. I mean, Sony Santa Monica is still going to be around. This isn't just Sony Santa Monica disappears and there's no longer any games coming out of that studio. This is just some people losing their jobs. But still, this still feels early this year, and now we're just seeing studios crumbling apart.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if a real reason gets into the media. We can find out exactly why.
I would have to assume that they would just be, well, you got your assets done. We no longer need you to finish this game. Thank you for playing. Here's your stipend and your pink slip. Now get out.
Well, I mean, the guy who said the IP's gone, he said that. Well, I mean, I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but he said, it's sad to say that what I've been working on will never see the light of day.
And that's happened from numerous games beforehand. I'm not saying it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying this has happened before numerous times through numerous companies. It's not going to stop. But it sucks that it happened this early. And we know who it is. So, I don't know. How do you feel about it, Bomber?
Dizzle, I don't care right now. Just being honest with you.
Really? This is the same studio that puts out the baseball games.
Here's the deal.
No, it's not. That's Sony San Diego.
That's a different one. That's a different one.
Sony puts out the game, but anyways.
If that was the case, that would be very bad news. That would be very bad news. Because that is the one thing Sony does that I give them a full thumbs up for gaming wise. They've got the baseball game down to a T. Everything else, man, I don't know. They are extremely hit and miss. I feel like
Naughty Dog is extremely hit. Play The Last of Us,
here's the deal. I won't argue that you're a Naughty Dog homer. I won't.
I'll say it right now, I am.
Yeah, no, I won't argue that you are. So, but I think that Sony can be very hit or miss with their games.
So you feel like, even if they lose, some people, that doesn't really matter. It's still going to be hit or miss no matter what.
Well, it matters. Obviously, it matters because you don't want a bunch of guys to get canned from the video game industry. That's, as a gamer, you want them to keep coming out with games. But I don't know, man. You start looking around at groups that are making games with smaller amounts of people, and they're good. That Banished game for PC was made by one dude. One guy made the entire game. He didn't outsource anything to anyone. He made that whole game by himself, and it's awesome. I think it doesn't take an army anymore to make a great game. It just takes a good army, a good small army.
So you'd say it takes anybody can make a good to decent game now. It doesn't take an entire platoon of artists and programmers to make a game nowadays. I don't know. I think it sucks, but it's not the worst thing that has ever happened. Swarley, you have here on the news thing that allegedly the main character of Assassin's Creed 5 has been leaked, and that Assassin's Creed 5 has a setting now. Is that true?
Yeah, there's been a press release that's been circulating. There's really until Ubisoft actually reveals the game, there's no way to really know whether this leak is real or not. But if people remember, it was basically this exact time last year is when Assassin's Creed 4 got leaked, which ended up being dead on with the leak. But the press release says that this game will be coming in November to next-gen consoles and PC. It is set in Victorian England during the Industrial Revolution. And the main character is, he's a business guy, he's an entrepreneur, he's a pretty good guy, and, he kind of stands up for people who are getting, shit on, and, he tries to do the right thing without, technically doing the right thing by, what people inside the law are doing, but, so, I mean, I'm sure we're going to find out pretty soon. I think it was March last year when AC4 got revealed officially, so I don't think it'll be too long until we know if this is true or not.
I definitely dig more alternative settings to the Assassin's Creed game series-wise. I think it's going to be another Abstergo-type project, to where they're going to make another. Having not beaten AC4, this could be wrong. From what I've seen, it could end up being another Abstergo Industries gaming project, prequel, sequel, whatever. I like the idea of it being in the Victorian era, in the age of the Industrial Revolution, to where whole colonies and cities were being built up, and it's not just Stone Age, it's not just the medieval times type of stuff. It's industry building up what will eventually become the future of whole nations, and that you get to be a part of that. And to know that you are playing an ostensibly good character and not just a shade of gray type of character makes me think that there could be certain instances to where if this is a fictional character, they can go one way or another, and that you could essentially make him a bad character by the end of the game, depending on your actions. Or you could stick to the script and be a good character throughout the entire thing, and maybe you'll take out, union bosses that are holding kids, I don't want to say hostage, but basically using child labor, and you're putting a stop to that. Maybe something like that will happen, because that happened a lot during the Industrial Revolution. You can see new inventions that popped up during that time, and actually being able to meet the people who came up with stuff like the cotton gin, something interesting like that. I don't know if that was Victorian. Probably not. Something interesting like that. And it's always very cool to see different eras of history being used that aren't the norm of, okay, well, this is a Western, or this is a medieval game, not just the setting that had Altair in. this isn't just a space setting. This is actual human history being involved, and that's always cool to see that in Assassin's Creed. So, who knows? I'm looking forward to the next game. I have to beat the old game right now before I get to it, but next gen's cool. So, more power to him. And you got here on the next thing that Rocksteady is set to reveal a new Batman game. What's that about?
Yeah, over the past week, GameStops have been receiving Batman promotional posters. It doesn't have any information on it. It's just got the the typical Bat logo that's been used on the all 3 Arkham games. I guess 4 Arkham games. It's just got that. It says Batman inside the bat. And then it's kind of outlined in flames. So, I mean, obviously they wouldn't be getting new promotional materials. And it has been confirmed that through multiple GameStop people that they are receiving this and it is real. But, you got to think Rocksteady's getting ready to reveal a new game, or there would be no reason to send out promotional stuff. There was also a journalist, I think he was a Dutch journalist. I don't want to say for sure, I can't remember, but he said that I tweeted a picture of a little Rocksteady plaque on a wall, and he said that he went to a press event for Rocksteady, and they're kind of, for all the information that was revealed during that event, they're under embargo until sometime in March. So, I mean, it really looks like Rocksteady's about to reveal their next Batman game. Setting-wise, who knows? There's been quite a few rumors. Don't even know if it'll be an Arkham game or not. I'm guessing that it won't. I think they're going to maybe try a little something new with in the Batman universe, but we will hopefully see next month. Or I guess in a few hours it'll be this month.
Here's something. My thoughts about this are Rocksteady left. Warner Brothers Montreal stepped in. They put out Batman and Arkham Origins. Arkham Origins is a decent to good game. It's not a great game. It's got a lot of bugs in it. A lot of stuff is kind of anachronistic about it to where why does Batman have this certain set of tools that feel like stuff that he shouldn't have had during his origin type story that he has later on in the future. Like, the grapnel hook was just like, okay, well, you get it from Deathstroke. That's awesome. A lot of people were feeling like, or having the opinion of, this is early Batman. He should have access to advanced tools because he's Batman, but he shouldn't have this many advanced tools. Warner Brothers Montreal had to put that stuff on because it's a Batman game. People are expecting that, even if it is an origin type story element. Now, Rocksteady's stepping back in, and that's all fine and good. We both know that they have made Arkham Asylum good game, good enough to make Arkham City great game, good enough to put out the idea of putting out Origins, okay game. I had the feeling, and especially hearing stories about, okay, well, Rocksteady's going to put out a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, or they were going to work on a different IP on top of that. I had this feeling that Rocksteady wasn't going to leave Batman behind, but they were given the opportunity off of their trade of these 2 previous Batman games, again, Asylum and City, that they had enough trade to say, okay, well, we're going to put out this new IP, and it's going to be a good game, and we hope you guys like it. Montreal didn't exactly fail at Origins, but they didn't put out a good enough product to have people put their faith in that studio again to make another Batman game. And, there's a lot of more thoughts of, well, since Rocksteady was going to do this new IP over there, they were still trying to annualize Batman games, and now Rocksteady is being brought back in to do this annualized Batman game and basically say, okay, well, you guys fucked up. We're the team that makes the Batman games. And I'm just saying, in my personal opinion, why weren't you working on this new IP no matter what? Other than to say, we don't want you guys to tarnish what we did, so we're going to do it ourselves.
Well, I mean, they've been rumored for Batman games for, I think, over a year now. So, I mean, it's no surprise to me, and I don't think it's really them stepping back in as, Warner Brothers kind of wanted something to fill the void between City and whatever this is going to be. But at the same time, I mean, what I'm thinking is it's not going to be an Arkham game. They're going to go with a new setting, so it's kind of a new game, while at the same time something familiar that all these fans they've built up they'll still be there. But yeah, I mean, I think they've probably been working on this for at least not too long after City. I mean, it's been rumored. I mean, I remember they were rumored with like a Silver Age Batman for. That's been a rumor going around for quite a while. So,
and again, I'm not saying Batman as an IP is bad, and I'm not saying that the lore of Batman, like there's plenty of stuff that you can go over in the Batman universe. You can make a Batman game strictly based off of all of his universe, and not just having to play as Batman. You could play as a crony fighting against Batman, or working your way up through the mob scene to where you eventually start sending people after Batman to either capture or kill him. You could do something like that within a Batman series game. You don't feel that Rocksteady is kind of being pigeonholed to make these Batman games because nobody else knows how to really make a good one, you think?
I don't think so.
Because that's what it feels like to me. They're like, nobody else... the people behind the Batman games, Warner Brothers in particular, are like, nobody else can make a good Batman game but you guys. We want you to come back. Here's a blank check. Fill it out. We'll pay you that much. Please come and make the good stuff that you've made these past two games, and not Origins. We know you can make a good one. Make another one for us. I just feel like Rocksteady was ready to move on. Somebody fucked up. They got paid some money, and they couldn't just look the other way, and they were like, okay, we're going to make a new game. And I feel like that's all anybody feels that Rocksteady's good for, is Batman.
Well, I mean, the reason that I don't think about that is because, I mean, Origins only came out a handful of months ago, and this game has had to have been in development for at least a couple of years. So, I mean, if it's not in the Arkham, if it's not an Arkham game, I will not think that they're being forced to do this, because I mean. They're taking Batman and they're doing something new with it. So, I mean, I think if somebody was forcing them to do something, it would be, make us another copycat game. So, I mean, I can only guess until Rocksteady reveals what they're working on, so.
I'm looking forward to what they have for us next month, in a couple hours from now, a couple of days from now, who knows. I think that's it. So what we're going to do is we're going to have final thoughts and shout-outs. Now, the final thoughts tweak to this shout-out section is something that we would like to talk about that isn't part of the previous agenda, but something we want to say as far as gaming or just personal opinions or whatever. So, Swarley, you got any final thoughts?
Final thoughts, having a lot of fun with Forza right now. I've joined a league, a pretty serious league over on a site that JMS has run at for a while, and we had a testing night last Friday, and that was an absolute blast. Trying to get once a month endurance series going on Forza Motorsport 4 on VSN, so hopefully that gets underway. We got kind of a fun testing night next week. Really been wanting to play some Prince of Persia lately. I guess that kind of led me to my HD collection purchase, but man, I really want to play it. I'm ready for those platforming puzzle type stuff. And shout outs, podcast. I my racing league. And I think that's it.
So shout outs to the folks that are on the podcast, that make the podcast, that produce the podcast, that pay for the podcast. Apex Racing League, check them out. If I had any final thoughts, I would have two. One, and I'm officially breaking the rule now, as far as bad games that you enjoy are concerned, I don't regret owning Rumble Roses. I just regret the fact that I said something about it on this podcast.
Jay is ashamed.
I know. Second thing. Okay. How do I say that? I dig doing this podcast for you listeners out there. I like helping out Swarley. He does a damn fine job since he's taken over the producer chair months ago. Done a damn good job. I've dug speaking with people on Mr. Bill's behalf, on your behalf, on the show's behalf. I've dug working with I Am Eddie Yeen, CC Brink, Twig, Maynard, Boucher, you, Nub, who else? J-Hen, Heels, WX, Heels Weatherman, and Pete, Atlas, numerous other people. What I don't like is how we had Bomber on this podcast, and basically in the middle of a news segment, he just up and leaves. Now, I understand that, you have other obligations. You might want to go do something else if you're bored. I get that. But finish the fucking podcast. That's what I'm saying. I don't care what you got to do beforehand. If you're not getting paid, if you don't have to go to work, if you don't have to go see your girlfriend, family members, whatever, you've set aside some time to do this fucking podcast and then you up and leave because you're bored. Fuck you. Seriously. I hope you listen to this. And I hope you realize that if you're going to do more of these podcasts, then maybe stick around to the end of the fucking podcast. Now, I'm not going to say anything about your South Park stream, whatever. That's up to you, whatever you want to do. It's coming up Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever the game's coming up. Find him up on Twitch. You know what his last name is. Figure it out. But finish the fucking podcast. Alright? If you decide to ever come back to the podcast, it's not up to me. But finish up. Do it for Swarley. He's doing a damn fine job. Don't have to do it for me. I don't give a fuck. But if you're bored, don't come on the podcast. Don't be here if you're not going to finish. I don't want you here. That's my final thought on that. Shout-outs. Shout-outs to you, Swarley. Shout-outs to the rest of the podcast crew. Even Bomber, now that I'm still pissed at him still. Shout-outs to listeners. Shout-out to VirtualSportsNetwork.com for putting forth the money, especially Mr. Bill, for paying for this podcast stuff for Podomatic so we can keep on streaming it to you guys, putting on iTunes so you can check us out on that too. Folks who subscribe to us through Twitter, through VSN Gaming, to see what we're doing. And other people who just generally listen to this podcast. Thank you. Other than that, I got nothing.
A call out, I like it.
Fuck you. Yeah, if you don't like it, fuck you. I don't care. I'm sick and tired of that shit, though. If you're not going to put in the time, don't be here. That's my final thought, and that's my shout-outs. Thank you, everybody, for listening to episode 87 of VSN Arcade Radio Podcast. So, really got anything else to say?
I'm ready to get back into some more Thief.
All right, looking forward to it. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We're out. Check you next week.
Smooches.
Peace.